Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Post season 4 update, obviously the meta feels very different because of the health changes and how damage works now basically, and in specific the SMG category is super competitive right now. There is, I think, a very clear definitive number one option, but in general, if you were to break down the top 5 best SMGs, which is what we're doing here today, it's not an easy list to make by any means whatsoever because overall things are very competitive. That said, we are starting here first at number 5. I've got the P90. This was a toss-up for me between the P90 and the MP7, and quite frankly I think you could sort of plug and play either or in here and you could have an argument for both. They're so similar in so many ways. Their TTKs, especially over the mid-range where they really thrive, are like neck and neck basically. The P90's got a little bit of a movement advantage. The MP7 I feel like is a little bit easier to use. Like I said, either or would work fine here, but the P90 is where I lean specifically for that movement. Obviously anytime you can be speedy, you can be snappy and aggressive. In this game, it's a nice change of pace since for the most part you are relatively bogged down. As far as this P90 setup goes, it's pretty much focused all on mobility with the exception of the Lockshot KT85 compensator, and this is just going to attack that recoil and make things a little bit easier in the mid-range when you find yourself in those scenarios where you might need a little extra help staying on target. It's not going to slow you down by any means though, because we have so much elsewhere focusing on movement. The 7mm laser we're going to see on pretty much every single sub here today focuses on that better ADS and sprint to fire, and we're always tuning to enhance that even more. I go for the light rail. This keeps the iron sights on there but just straight up helps out with your movement speed, and fun enough, you can actually tune for a better sprint speed, which you rarely ever see in this game, and a better sprint to fire as well. I've got the Brewing Q900 rear grip for that better ADS and sprint to fire, tunes to match that even more. And then just behind the face cam here, I've got the TV tack home comb attachment, which also helps out with your ADS and your sprint to fire, and that is tuned for better mobility as well. So this thing flies. It is one of the fastest builds in the entire game, one of the best mobility based guns in the game. And I love it because it also has that phenomenal and super competitive TTK as is, so it's the best of both worlds. Now this spot might come as a surprise to a lot of you, but at number 4 I've got the MX9. Now there's an asterisk here. The MX9 is great right now in solos. Outside of that, duos, trios, quads, it's really not all that viable just because its magazine capacity is so limited, and especially now with the increased health, you need every bullet. Every single bullet counts, and only having 32 in this as opposed to 45, 50, 60 on other SMGs is just not enough to maintain a consistent level of play in anything outside of solos unless you are a top tier player and navigating gunfights perfectly. That said, the MX9 has one of the best TTKs out of the entire SMG category right now. It's also very easy to use and it's very mobile, very aggressive. So as mentioned, we got to be running the 32 round mag here. That's a no-brainer. Q900 rear grip here as well for the better ADS and sprint to fire. Behind the face cam this time, I've got the C11 riser. It's basically going to be doing the same thing as the TACOM, better ADS, better sprint to fire there. I do tune for a bit of recoil stabilization, but you could go either way there. No real wrong answer for that one. Not big on the iron sights for the AUG though, so I do go for the basic blue dot here. You could always use whatever optic you are the most comfortable with though. Just tune for that furthest eye position and faster ADS. Then I go for the S901 barrel. Better range, better movement speed, and better velocity. Kind of unique barrel here that helps out in a lot of nice ways and just makes it a bit more competitive overall. If the MX9 had a 45 round mag or even a 50 round mag, it arguably could be the best SMG in the game, but for now I think it sits comfortably in that 4 spot, maybe that 5 spot. You can make an argument for that too. If you hit your shots though, it fries. Now at number 3 I've got the Vaznev. I mean, this thing is just still a very consistent SMG. It's not too high, it's not too low. It kind of just does everything decently, right? Pretty good TTK, pretty good movement. There are some better options though, although not by much. There are some better choices, but it's still one of the most competitive options that we have in the game here. So pretty standard 45 round mag, your basic extended mag that you definitely need to be running here. True tack rear grip focuses on that ADS and sprint to fire. The Ultrazat stock focuses on the aim walking speed or the strafe speed as well as the sprint speed. So just straight up some better mobility with tunes to enhance that even more. The Olay laser, the equivalent of the 7mm, better ADS and sprint to fire. Then the CAS 1 barrel. Yes, this does slow you down a little bit some. That said, the other attachments pretty much make up for that, but this does extend your damage range a little bit. It's nothing crazy, but in close range gunfights, 2 meters, 3 meters is a ton. That's the difference of winning and losing a gunfight on a damage drop-off that's as severe as most of the SMGs. So this can come in handy a lot. So definitely a clutch attachment in my opinion. Same setup we've been running for a bit here, but it still works just fine post health update and post season 4. By the way, as we are going through everything here today with the best SMGs right now, if you guys are new to the channel, you like what you see, you want to stay up to date with all things going on in COD on a daily basis, I got you covered. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications, and if you guys enjoy this video, if you find it helpful at all, let me know by dropping a like on it. Let's try and aim for 1,500 likes on this one. Been a while since we set a like goal. As always, seriously appreciate all the love and all the support on the channel day in and day out. Now at number 2, the silver medal spot, I've got the MP5. This thing is still as reliable as it comes, right? It's got the mobility, it's got the damage and the TTK. It's one of the most competitive SMGs in the game. It's easy to use, clean iron sights. It is checking all the right boxes basically, except for one, which I'll mention here in just a moment. But setup here a little bit different going into season 4. Now I do still run the TCG 10 rear grip. It focuses on control because there is no ADS and sprint to fire rear grip for the MP5, so I just tuned for that here instead and get a little bit of mobility and a little bit of control, kind of the best of both worlds yet again. 7 milliwatt laser for the ADS and sprint to fire. Falcon barrel is going to attack mobility a ton, better ADS, better movement speed, so you love to see that. I've recently switched out the stock for overpressured ammo. It's going to induce a little bit more flinch here. You can tune for the better range and velocity. It's not going to do much. It's something, it's cool, it is what it is, but this will actually in some cases cause your opponents to miss more shots, which in this TTK now is super important. So this is actually a very clutch attachment as well. Then of course we're running the 50 round drum. I'd always be running this over 40 now just because the health increase, that's pretty much a necessary upgrade now post season 4. But still, like I said, such a reliable SMG, one of the top tier choices. You'll see a lot of pros still running this because it is familiar to pretty much everyone and it gets the job done. Now the one box that the MP5 does not check is that it's not the ISO 45. Because the ISO 45 is the best SMG in the game right now. This thing's TTK is insanely fast, as we've covered a couple of times already. It's easy to use, doesn't have the greatest irons in the world, but they are, usable. I don't end up opting for an optic here because I'd rather focus on mobility and making this a little bit more consistent all around rather than having to waste an attachment on a red dot, right? So I go for the 45 round drum. I go for the sheer rear grip for the better ADS and sprint to fire, tunes to match. The Cheetah stock is going to give you a ton of mobility benefits here. Sprint speed, strafe speed, ADS speed. You can tune to enhance that even more. 7 milliwatt laser as always. And then once more, I do go for the KT85 here just to add some control since a lot of these attachments are taken away from that. So this will still maintain that accuracy and that efficiency in some of the mid-range engagements and just make it a little bit more easy to use. That said, this is not the one and only ISO 45 setup. I've seen so many different combinations, tried out a lot as well. My original here, this is my OG. I'm still really liking this the most, but I've seen builds with barrels. I've seen builds with various different stocks like the mace for better control, overpressured ammo, some optics on there too. There's a lot of different ways you can make this thing effective just because it's just that good of an SMG. And that being said, that is going to wrap things up for this one. Those are the top 5 best SMGs. There's no inspect animation. Okay, there it was. It was just on Internet Explorer. Those are the top 5 best SMGs here in Warzone Season 4. That's going to wrap things up. If you enjoyed the video or if you found it helpful, let me know by dropping a like on it. And if you're new here, feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications to always stay up to date with all things going on in COD. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.